I'm so excited to talk about Polar because it was even worse than I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
I have the opposite opinion. I think it was better than the first time I watched it.
It was worse than the first time I watched it. Okay, I hated it less, but it was worse. It enraged me less, and I was less bored. But I think that's because I was my ass. I took so much.
You can't say that.
Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, and by that we mean we talk about what's on our minds, cause we're Telly.
What?
Today we're talking about what we have previously agreed. We watched
Can
this
I
movie
say
one
my
time
name?
together when we were like 17. You don't have a name. We are talking about the
What?
movie Polar, and we agree that this is the worst movie of all time. Okay, what's your name?
No, I don't have one.
Okay.
Can I say
Listen.
something?
Okay.
I know you're excited,
Sorry, I'm so excited.
but I just want to say that I made brownies.
Are they good? Can I have one?
They're a little hard,
Mm.
but they're good.
Can I have one? So I will say that I enjoyed it more, and it was less boring than the first time I watched it. Like, it infuriated me less. However, I noticed even more small details where I was just like, this is such a bad movie. Like, this is an atrocious movie. It's even the ending, when I was like, the ending is finally good, the plot twist was cool, but then it was like, it lasted for like 2 minutes of being cool, and then it like went back to being really cringy again. I would like to read the Letterboxd reviews for it later at the end of this episode. I would like to read the reviews for it. It's so bad. It's such a bad movie. I've never seen a movie this bad in my entire life, and I kept telling my roommates when we were gonna watch it, I was like, guys, this is the worst movie ever. But I don't think it conveyed to them how bad it truly was, because then we watched it, and they were just, every moment, we were losing our minds, because it just kept, something different would happen, and it would somehow be worse. And I was like, but don't worry, the last 10 minutes are really, really, really good, and that's why I give it 1 star. And the last 10 minutes were actually not as good the second time around, because it, like, the plot twist is crazy, but then it goes back to bad acting. And anyway, what were your thoughts?
I'm gonna surprise you and actually defend this movie a little bit. It wasn't as bad as I remembered it being for some
It was
reason.
worse than I remembered it being. It had so many details. First scene, the guy has tattoos. You can see the outline of the stickers. You can see the sticker outlines on his body.
The first time we watched this, we were like laughing so hard because it was so bad. But then I'm like now in film school, and I'm like, this wasn't that bad. It was bad, but it's not as bad as I remembered it being. And I think it's like there's some cool parts, but I think if they cut out the B storyline, it would be so good.
I will say that as a premise on paper, this movie has a very cool plot. That's the only good thing I'm going to say about it. If you pitched this plot as like a 5-sentence paragraph, great. It's great. However, the execution. The type of, it was so bad that it was funny with like how bad it was, and I feel like we would make something bad funny like this on purpose, and that would make it funny, but this wasn't supposed to be like that. And then it's just bad.
Yeah, I looked up the genres of this movie in 3 different places.
Is it listed as a comedy anywhere?
Kind of. It's like on Google just gives me like dark action essentially. And then IMDb also gives me like dark action. And then Letterbox kind of gives like drama, action, hero, but then it said like dark action comedy, and I was like, oh, but it was like one of the last ones. But this movie's not supposed to be funny.
Like, The only reason I enjoyed watching it this time around was because that like I just let myself find it every moment of it funny.
I didn't laugh at any of it.
I
And I don't
laughed
know
so many
why.
times. I laughed like a million times because listen, he shoots the dog and the dog just goes flying across the room. It's so funny. It's so bad. I texted you a tagline for this film: sex, assassinations, and high saturation.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Like the opening scene is like a drone shot over this forest.
It doesn't look real. It
It
looks
doesn't,
like they rendered in the house.
and immediately I was like, holy fuck, is something wrong with my computer? Because the saturation was up to fucking 1,000, and I was like, did I change something on my monitor?
No,
Like, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? And I was
you
like,
knew.
oh
You knew.
no. And then it cut to people, and I was like, oh no, yeah, no,
This
it's
is
like
the
this.
movie. And there's a CGI bird, like right at the beginning with the drone shot. There's a CGI bird that flies in.
Most birds in movies are CGI.
I know, but this one was like badly done. And then this little house rendered in for some reason on the drone shot. And then every scene with the camera was so shaky. Like the camera was too shaky. I don't know if they were going for a documentary style. I don't know what was happening. And they had let me just talk about the camera. You know a film's bad if I'm talking to you about the camera work, because I don't know shit about camera work. You're the film guy here. They had more cuts than the Taylor Swift 1989 World Tour documentary film. And that film is known for having 17 cuts in a second. This this film was like cut for someone like putting on a belt to show you 17 angles of the belt being put on. And then they did this weird, what's it called when the camera like slides over to show a new angle? Like when a camera like swivels. Does that have a
Like
name?
a whip pan, or
Sure. They did a cut and then a whip pan to show him turning to look out a window when he was in a store. And they shouldn't have done the cut right beforehand because it looked really weird. It was like the point of view was just moving around too much. It was so bad. It was so bad. Do you know how bad camera work has to be for me to notice it? Jesus Christ. Okay, you can talk now. How did you not laugh when he shoots the dog and it goes flying across the
okay,
screen?
I was mad about it. I just want to say, I immediately my first thought was a millennial had to write this, like 100% for sure. And I looked up this guy, the guy who wrote this. Also, this movie's based on a book, and let me read you what this book is about,
Okay.
because they changed it so much, and this book actually sounds cool.
High saturation made like the blues like really pop almost black, like ink. So we were like, are they going for a comic book style here? And like maybe that's why the saturation is so high. And then at the end of the movie, we thought it was saying it was based on a comic book. So we were like, maybe that's why the saturation was turned up to 1,000. What is it, a comic book?
I think it's a graphic novel, actually. It originally was going to be a silent webcomic. This is a comic. But guess what?
What?
It's in black and white and red.
Opposite of saturation turned up to 1,000.
It's just black and white and red. It's
I wish the movie was like that.
Right now I see 6 books in this series. It's about this guy, the Black Kaiser, who gets hunted down by this assassin. She's just like a highly trained assassin. Like, imagine Black Widow, essentially. Yeah. And they just like fight each other, and it's just like a cool like action adventure, like spy on spy, like hitman type book.
This is on Netflix, just like Blonde, and Blonde was NC-17, and I feel like this had more sex and nudity than Blonde did. Is this also NC-17 or is this rated R? When they do the character intros, they had cheetah print outlining the frames. You know how they had like 4 like pictures at once for the character intros? They would outline the frames in cheetah print. Why? Why cheetah print?
It was probably leopard print.
That's what I meant. Why? It's like so cringy. Like
Because a millennial wrote this.
if this movie was made ironically to be funny, it did its job, but my problem is I don't think it was even a little bit ironic.
They're like the Hitman group. They were dressed like they just embodied 2014 as a person.
All of the
And
costumes didn't have any like weathering on them, like they looked fresh out of a package. Like every outfit that everyone wore.
I mean, for the Hitman group, that makes sense, and for the big boss guy, like everyone on the B side, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But on the A side, that doesn't make sense. In the beginning, there was a fucking sing along. They put sing along lyrics at the beginning when they were singing. What was it? September or whatever.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
put the
September.
sing along lyrics up on it, and they put the bouncing ball so you could like sing along with the fucking lyrics.
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
Why did they do that? Can I just say my favorite part of the film was after he shot the dog, he burns a book called like Taking Care of Your New Dog, and then he goes and buys 2 fish, and then you see him reading a book called How to Take Care of Your New Fish. I laughed so hard. Like those 4 things happening back to back, I lost my mind. This movie's so funny.
This is what I had to say about Mads Mikkelsen. I said he's a very interesting man. I know nothing about what he does or who he is, but him in this movie feels like him. This movie just feels like his vibe.
I don't know much about him, but everyone who does know things about him basically just go, I watched this movie to see him naked. I don't know why he did this film. It's very weirdly bad for him to do this film.
This was my reaction to the dog dying. He like went to the pet store and he was like, I don't need a dog, and then it cut to him with the dog in the car.
And they're doing like that really stereotypical like grumpy old man gets a pet even though he says he doesn't want it bit, right?
Yeah.
And then immediately it goes flying.
And then he like starts his little movie because he bought a movie from fucking Redbox, off-brand Redbox. And for some reason, this dog really likes licking shoes because he just would lick his shoes, and he like fell asleep. And for some reason, the TV triggers him into. It's kind of like 11 from Stranger Things. How he like connects to the TV, and then sees like flashbacks to when he like killed this family.
He was just having a PTSD nightmare, basically.
And then someone like tried to shoot him. Also, the montages, the little flashback montage, those are
so
horrible.
Funny. They were so
bad.
They were so bad. I can't even. They were so bad.
It looks like an intro, like the intro credit scene to like a crime TV show that you'd only see on cable network. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he hears like a gunshot, and then it triggers him to shoot his gun, and he just shoots the dog. And this was my reaction.
You go fly!
This was my reaction. I was like, oh, he lied about drinking and smoking? Because immediately he told this lady that he quit smoking and drinking, but then he immediately lights a cigarette and starts drinking. And I was like, ew, that's so gross. The dog likes licking shoes. Ew, the flashback. And then I go, oh my god, Rusty! And then I drew a smiley face. And then he had his dream, and then he shot the dog. And I was like, Rusty! And I drew an angry face. And then I said, he had a whole life ahead of him. And then he went and bought the fish, and I was like, he doesn't deserve the fish. What the fuck?
And then you just see him burying his dog in the backyard, and then he burns the book he bought. Oh my god, him with the pets, and then him like talking to the kids in school about like murder has the vibe of Gru from Despicable Me.
Oh my god, you know what I said? I said
what?
This reminds me of Twilight because it just had like
I also wrote that down.
Twilight vibes.
The shot
blue.
Well, the shots of the woods were very like blue-green saturated. And it looked just like Twilight. Whenever you would like, it would do a overhead shot of like the wooded town he lives in. It looked like a scene straight out of Twilight.
Vanessa Hudgens, is that her name?
How did she end up here? 10 years after High School Musical.
She doesn't belong in this movie.
How did she end up here?
She's not.
Her acting was not good. I'm so sorry. I was like, guys, the ending of the movie is so good, and the plot twist was really fucking cool, but her acting kind of ruined it.
Yeah. Whenever he would call that one lady, would call her, tell her one sentence, hang up, and then break the SIM card. And he'd break like 3 SIM cards in one like sitting. He'd call her and be like, I saw you called. Hang up, break SIM card, put new SIM card in phone, call her, what's the deal? And then he'd be like, hang up, break the SIM card, put the SIM card in. Yeah, I'll do it. Hang up, break the SIM card, put a new SIM card in, and then move on. He would break so many fucking SIM cards. And I want to know how many SIM cards he went through this entire movie.
This,
I think
honestly,
at least 30.
that'd be so funny.
At
I
least
agree.
30.
Yeah. This whole movie is like porn, except for when they're killing people, but it's like they're killing people in a way that's so gory that it still feels like some sort of porn.
Yeah.
This movie's just porn. Every way that they showed a girl ever, except for the neighbor girl, which is a whole different story, every other woman they showed was like the most sexist depiction of a woman in cinema I've ever seen in my life.
I think that was the point.
It was the point. It was the point, but everything else about the movie is so bad that it almost doesn't make its point. It's like, it's the same as Blonde. Like, Blonde was like trying to be like, you guys sexualize Marilyn Monroe, but the movie was so bad that all it did was also sexualize Marilyn Monroe. You know?
Yeah.
I know the point, like, it was part of the style, but there was no reason for it to be part of the style. The film didn't actually make any commentary on, like, sexism. I don't think, even a little bit. So,
well, a little. There was that one guy who tried to like rape that one girl.
right, and then she like stabs him.
Yeah.
That was good. That was pretty
like
good.
that
You're
one.
right. I like that one. The scene where they kill the fat guy, if you show it to someone without any context, you can never predict what happens next. Like, the entire scene from start to finish is an acid trip. Like, that was the most insane scene in the entire movie. It was really, really gross, like, as a thing that exists, but also it's like you don't know where it's gonna go, and it just keeps going, and it's like I can't even. It's off the walls. I can't even describe it.
I love the girl who just was like doing like cheerleader shouts. She was my
Yeah,
favorite.
every single thing in that scene, just oh my god.
She's like, yes, you can do it, yes, choke him, kill him, yes. And then they shot at him, and then she's just like she just screams.
And then they put 1,000,000 bullets into him. It's such a gross scene. It's so bad. Oh my god.
Thick skin, my guy.
So, other than the ending being good, I thought this scene where like the even more experienced assassin like meets up with him and then poisons him, and that's how they finally get him. I thought that scene was weirdly good in the middle of a bad movie. I was like, oh, hang on a second. This whole scene is like well written and well delivered. It was like the most normal scene in the entire movie. It was just like two old assassins like talking, and then like the only good scene in the movie.
I thought it was weird that they kept introducing random ass characters like that old man. Also,
I texted you, who is the black woman? I didn't know who the fuck she was.
I also wrote that. I was like, who is this woman?
She was like helping him as if she's been introduced before, but I swear to God, I never saw her before.
She's like, you're back. Thank God you contacted me. You know,
and I was like, who is she?
Come back for me. And I was like, who the fuck? What do you mean back? Who are you?
All of the security guards, you know, when he like breaks out of his like chained up prison thing, all the security guards had stormtrooper aim. Like, they were all shooting at him, and no one landed anything, and he didn't flinch. It was stormtrooper aim.
You know, I also thought the tunnel scene was really good. When he was in
which
the tunnel,
scene was that?
He's in this tunnel, like, escaping, and he just kills, like, a bunch of fucking people. And just the lighting and the contrast and, like, the way the combat was so cool. And I was like, this is sick.
This movie had like a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe with how it tried to introduce like characters and locations, but they used 17 different fonts and high saturation, and it just did in cheetah in leopard print, and it just and like women's character introductions would just be like ass shot, tit shot, ass shot. This is Candy. I really liked the drug user girl because when Mad's character like went to the place, he just left her be because she wasn't bothering him, which is kind of the opposite of how the assassin gang acted. Like they would just shoot anyone who like was in the vicinity, and he left her be because he didn't need to kill her. And I thought that was a really well written contrast. If I had to say another nice thing about this movie, and then
I
the
thought he didn't
relationship.
kill her because she was already killing herself.
Oh, I interpreted it as she wasn't bothering him, so he had no reason to do her additional harm. Like I felt like he was like, I don't want to harm anyone unless I have to, type of thing.
I guess.
Because he had like such PTSD from killing people, you know?
But he killed people.
Yeah. Well, like she wasn't hurting him, so like in the movie we only really see him hurt people in self defense. I think I thought it was funny as fuck when he was fucking that chick that was like trying to trick him, and then all of a sudden they just middle of fucking she gets shot.
I like that you get to learn about his character, and like whenever he would go to the store, he would just like he doesn't seem like he talks to people. Like he just seems like a mute guy. But when he goes to the store and like buys birthday cake because it's his birthday soon, the fact that he's deciding to buy birthday cake is just like so cute. Because you're like, this is like an old angry god, like grumpy old man. Like he would never make himself a birthday cake because he's too grumpy and he hates his birthday. But it's like no, he wants to celebrate his birthday. That's so cute. And then the shop lady, she was like, I got I got decorations, I got candles, I got balloons. And then it cuts to him in his house and he's blowing up a balloon and it's just like he bought balloons. That's so cute. Like
He's
you'd think
adorable.
he'd hate everything. He'd hate balloons, but he loves balloons. He bought
So
balloons.
going off of that, leading up to the plot twist ending, his relationship with the neighbor is really cute because on the one hand, like the neighbor that he knows and has like his little crush on or something, he just is like, you liked my knife, I bought you a gun. Which is so funny. And he literally like was getting tortured for her. The torture scene was so gory, it was like porn. He was getting tortured for her.
What? Was not like porn.
And like did the kids in the school thing for her, and then you also find out, plot twist, that she's like the kid left alive when he killed a family and all of his PTSD flashbacks. Crazy well written, and she had like tracked him down to kill him. And then you find out that he's been paying for her college this entire time. And even though he was getting tortured for her sake without even knowing it was her, he was gonna just accept her shooting him because he was like, I deserve this. Like, that was crazy. And then they kind of, I think it would have been better if the movie ended without you knowing if she shoots him or not, because that was just all so cool. And then it had this really cringy ending where they're just like smoking. And I do remember we kind of lost our minds a bit at how good the ending was, and that plot twist was by far the best part of the movie. But her Vanessa Hudgens did not act very well. Sorry.
So
She looked like a little boy the whole movie.
no, she didn't.
I kept thinking she was a little boy.
That's sexist.
Okay.
Throughout the movie, whenever you see her, I thought it was annoying at first, but then I realized why this was happening, and I was like, oh, this is actually like a good thing about the movie. That's crazy. But when you first see her, she's like in the store and she like knocked over that like stand, and then the door scares her and she knocks it over again. I'm like, this bitch is annoying. And then she's in the diner, and I forget what scared her. It was like he like the waiter put down a cup of coffee or something and it like scared her. And I was like, this bitch is so annoying. Like, why is she so fucking jumpy? And then I realized all the sounds that were like happening, the door shutting and like the coffee cup or whatever, they sounded like gunshots. And so that's what was scaring her because she was getting PTSD from when she was a kid and hearing those gunshots and seeing her family get killed. And I was like, holy fuck, that is so genius. That's why That's why she's so jumpy. That's so fucking cool. And that was a good thing that they did. And when they were in the forest and she was like fucking shivering from holding a gun, she dropped it and Mads he did this he fucking started looking around like there were people walking by and he was like, ah, this is so embarrassing. And he started like looking around. And I'm like, why are you doing that? You're alone in the forest. So that was stupid. And then dialogue, all the dialogue was so awkward and weird between them. It sucked.
It
And
was
then
weird.
the sound effects, all of the sound design was ass. Whoever did sound on this, bad. I'm so
Can I
sorry.
add that in the first 10 minutes of the movie, he gets a prostate exam and then the doctor is like, "Do you want some pie?" Like he gets a prostate exam and then they eat pie together. You like how do you come up with this shit?
Also, his office is in the exam room,
Yeah.
but I didn't know if he was like a doctor hired by the agency or if he was just a doctor. I feel like he was a doctor hired by the agency, which would make more sense for everything because he was looking at one of his injuries and was like, "Hey, you can take this thing out," which I guess was like a probably like a bullet or something. He's like, "It's not too late to take this thing out," and he had like so many scars. Like a
Yeah.
doctor would definitely question that. So I think he worked for the agency, which made it less weird.
Yeah. And that scene was totally in there to show you that he has a ton of scars from like experience. But then why a prostate exam? I don't know. I don't know.
Because that's a man's experience.
Do you have anything else to say about this movie?
I do. I'm not even started yet.
Okay, go off.
We didn't talk about the villain at all. It's this fucking plump, chubby, I'm sorry to say, ugly, blonde
He's like
British man.
Mr. Colonel Mustard. He's like Colonel Mustard and then Onion from Steven Universe.
Colonel
Had a
Mustard
baby.
is hot. I don't know what you're talking about.
He just wore like a solid yellow suit. First appearance. Really threw me off.
He's not Colonel Mustard.
I just solid yellow suit, my guy.
He's so fucking ugly and weird, and why is he British?
I couldn't tell you. He's like infuriating to have on screen.
And the whole point of why they're trying to kill this guy is because the big villain guy is like, hey, I know a way that we can make a profit, and it's by killing our retired hitmen on their birthdays so we can steal their pension and get their money. And we don't have to pay them the money that we owe them in their pension. And so that's why they're trying to kill him. Like,
I love the girl that was just like, this is getting to be more trouble than it's worth. You should just pay him his pension and move on. And he was like, no.
He's like, no, it's getting personal. And then
He did kill his girlfriend.
yeah, you're fucking hunting him down, stealing his pension, you stole his fucking friend, and you're trying to kill him. I think it's more personal for him. And he's like, well, I'm still gonna do it. I'm also surprised that they could kill so many of their like most highly experienced hitmen so easily. Like you'd think that they'd still be on guard. And they like if I was an experienced hitman and I retired, I think like I in the back of my mind, like plan B would be, oh yeah, they're gonna fucking kill me. So every day I'd just be, have plan B in the back of my brain. I'm surprised they killed everyone so easily. They also didn't need like half of the sex scenes.
All of the sex scenes were extremely unnecessary. Like they just had
needed,
like her tits pressed against a window. They fucked in like 17 different positions before in Mad's
yeah, it was
bedroom.
also too long.
That was crazy. And I really liked that she just got shot in the middle of it and then they just like blew up the fucking house. Like he shot the house from the sniper and it was funny.
The only sex scene that was needed was the one at the end where that girl was seducing him. Because her job is to be the seducer and the distraction,
But it went on for so long.
I know, and then she seduces the guy they're trying to kill, and then her like finishing move is, oh, I'm gonna give you a blowjob, aka I'm gonna get out of the way so they can shoot you in the head. And she went down, but he like knew somehow. Like we don't know how, but like we also I'm kind of surprised that the hitmen like don't know all each other.
Right?
Like wouldn't you like know each other? Like I would definitely look through the database and look at the other hitmen on the planet and see what they're doing and who they are so I can like watch them. But like he knew somehow. We don't know how he knew, but he knew. And he like whips her up right as the bullet's coming, so she gets shot. And then he, I don't know how he did this so fast, but he ran probably a mile into a snowstorm, naked, completely naked, and killed the sniper. And then took his clothes and then shot some people and then ran away and killed the last girl. And the last girl was the big villain's girlfriend, which was weird. Which was weird. I don't know why they gave him a girlfriend. I think it's just like a, I don't know. They shouldn't have given him a girlfriend. He didn't deserve a woman. And then he kills everyone. And then he realizes that they did plan B, which was go take his neighbor and take her captive.
I
so
love when
would
he
give up
rescued her with
himself.
the like laser finger things that connected to the guns.
That was also really random.
It's funny as shit. This whole movie's so random. I don't even know how someone could write this.
I don't know either.
Like, this is something we would write as a comedy. It was just like, it was like they wanted to make John Wick. They just remade John Wick, right? And like, for millennials, I guess, was the goal
John
here.
Wick. It's a little like John Wick.
It has some similar points.
Both of Vanessa's monologues sucked. They were so bad. I'm so sorry. The first time I was like, it's the writing. But then the second time I was like, no, it's her acting. I'm so sorry. Her acting sucked. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. Yes, she could cry well, like visually. If you turn the sound off, I'd be like, yeah, she's fucking doing it. But then you turn the sound on and it's just like, this is really bad. I'm so sorry. It was just so bad. And she had to say like the same thing in both of the monologues, but like slightly different.
Yeah.
Also at the end, I feel like she should have been mad, but she wasn't mad. She was just sad. I don't know. She had no emotion in her voice.
Which I think was the point, is that she's very like apathetic towards it because it's just like this emptiness that was left in her, right?
But she clearly feels something, but because she can't shoot him.
Right.
She's like not mean to people.
How did she end up in this movie? What happened after High School Musical ended?
She can't act. Also, the ADR that they put in wasn't even blended very well. Like I could tell what was ADR and what wasn't.
What's that?
Voiceover.
Oh.
Also, I think that Vanessa, she knew the entire movie that this was the guy who killed it.
Oh yeah, she knew the entire movie, and I think it's kind of funny on his end because he like liked this neighbor girl so much that like he got tortured for her, and then also he was paying for the college tuition of the girl whose family he killed. So like he cared about this person in two separate situations, not knowing it was the same person, but she knew it was him all along.
But you think that he didn't know that it was her?
Yeah. Because he discovers it when he walks into the bedroom and sees all the newspapers.
I thought he knew, and that's why he moved to that town.
Oh. I thought that's why he like walked into the bedroom and saw the newspapers and was like, oh shit, it's her.
See, I thought that was him being like, oh, she found out, or oh, she knew the entire time.
Oh.
That was like him figuring out that she knew
that
the entire
she
time.
knew. I thought he didn't know it was her. Okay.
Why else would he move to this like bombfuck town in
that makes sense. So he just didn't know that she knew. That makes a lot of sense. I get that. Huh.
I don't know. That's how
No,
I
I
saw
get
it.
that. You really think this is something the movie should have made clear? now
They
now
didn't.
that we're thinking about it, this is a bad movie. The colors were bad, and the camera work was bad, and the outfits were bad, and the tattoos were bad, and the sound design was bad, and the acting was bad, and the writing was bad, and the story wasn't entirely bad.
Do you wanna hear what I wrote about the old guy assassin at the bar?
He was one of the best parts. Tell me.
I So it was like him walking in the bar and they're like being old buddies, and I was like, I like this old guy Porter. And then I drew a shocked face because I just realized he drugged him, and I'm like, ha, just kidding, I hate him now. He drugged him. And I drew another shocked face. I was like, how dare he? The torture scenes were actually like painful to watch.
Oh yeah, I couldn't when he like stapled, he like crucified a guy with like the nail gun or whatever. I couldn't watch that.
That was not during the torture sequence.
I know, it reminded me.
Like when he had that like little like I don't even know what it was. It was like little clippers, and he was just like snipping like little slits in his skin, like a fucking million paper cuts. I was like, that's gotta fucking hurt. I would drown. Like I'd rather drown. And he had to listen to bagpipes the entire time too. Like I would, I think I would mentally, forcefully make my body just die, just through
Hmm.
mind power. And he went through it. Also, I wrote this when when the big villain, he like stabbed him and his little scalpel broke inside of him, and so the blade was
Hmm.
inside of him. He was like,
Hmm.
"You broke my favorite knife.
Oh, when he had to pull it out of himself. Oh my god.
You broke my favorite knife. Can you hear me? You broke my favorite knife." And he's like, "Clearly, I'm not getting to you." And so he stabs him in the eye with it.
Oh
That was
yeah, that
gross.
got me. That got me. And
But
then
then
he had better aim than the stormtroopers, even though he just got stabbed in the fucking eye.
yeah, and then I wrote when he took like the blade out of his body. I wrote I like to think his body. I like to think he made his body, like he told his body to break the little blade off so that he could get out. Like he planned that whole situation. Like when he stabbed his chest, he just like
That's
flexed his
smart.
pec and broke the
He
fucking
flexed
blade.
his pec and broke the blade on
I just like I'd like to
purpose.
think that he planned that. He
I don't know
definitely
how he
didn't.
could have, but
But I just like to think that he, in this universe, he definitely did.
oh, and at the beginning, a guy gets shot while his dick is getting sucked. That was funny.
Wait, who did, who did you say that this guy reminds you of?
John Wick,
No,
James Bond.
I don't know. But I thought he reminded me of Tai Long from Kung Fu Panda.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah, I thought he. No, no, no,
Onion from Steven Universe.
no.
The main guy?
Matt's character.
Mads' character. He reminded me of
looks like-
Gru from Despicable Me.
Yeah, to me, he reminded me of Tai Lung because he was gray and he was buff and beefy, and he had that like triangle torso, and I was like, this is Tai
Yeah.
Lung, dude. And he said some things. His voice was also kind of like Tai Lung, and he said things that I was like, dude, I swear that he just stole lines from Tai Lung. I swear to God.
If you want to see a movie that is more bad than you can possibly imagine, and also see Mads naked, go check out
You want
Polar.
to see his ass? Get
And
in
him
there.
fuck a room. You get to see him fuck a woman in like 7 different positions.
Actually, fuck 2 women. And both times he looks so disinterested that it feels wrong. But actually, in both times,
This whole movie is like,
he started
yeah,
the sexual intercourse. So you're like, why does he look like that?
I just think it's crazy that he knew the whole time the woman was a setup, and he fucked her anyway. Like,
I
like
mean,
the last possible moment.
Wouldn't you?
He fucked her till the last possible moment, and then was like, "Okay, you're dying now."
Wouldn't you?
I would not be anywhere near this position. I would be so far away from this position. I don't think there's any steps I could take in my life to end up like him. None of this would ever happen to me.
I think you'd be a neighbor.
I could be the neighbor.
Actually, no, you can't. It's too late for you.
Yeah, my family hasn't been assassinated yet.
Oh, during the last scene, I like totally forgot whether or not she shoots him, and I was like, this is my series of thoughts. I'm like, oh, she's been theorizing that he did it. Like she knew the whole time, and then she's able to point a gun at him and not shake, but she's like, but before she was like absolutely terrified. So was she faking before? Just to like throw him off and be like, oh, I'm a wimp, I can't kill a person. But now, like, there was a split second where I was like, oh my god, she's an assassin and she is gonna kill him. But then I was like,
You were
oh
right.
no,
No.
I remember now. And like for a split second, I thought she was faking being like not able to use a gun. But then I was like, no, she wouldn't shoot him because she cares about him now because he is being nice to her and like giving her things. Also, he gave her the gun and she's like, this gun now has sentimental value because this man gave it to me. Also, he's been sending me money like every single year, which is insane. And so I think she became attached to him. And I was like, I guess she would never. And then her monologue was just so bad. It was so bad. I'm so sorry. They had to rehearse that more.
It was delivered horribly, which sucks because the plot twist, as just like a story piece, is by far the best part of the movie.
Yeah. I wrote some things that would make this movie better.
I think if we made this movie, it would have been better.
If they didn't make it weird, it would be better. If they kept it on the dark side, and if there was
sorry.
less sex, and if there were age-appropriate relations, and if there was better sound design and better dialogue and better acting.
They either needed to commit to it being a dark action, or they needed to commit to it being a comic book adult comedy, because both at the same time made it horrendous. Like, it either needed to have good acting in like good just execution of a dark action movie and not seem like a drunk 30-year-old was horny and rewrote John Wick, or if they want it to be like funny, over the top violent colors, they needed to make me not question whether the comedy was accidental. Like, they need to pick a genre. They need to just throw it all away. I don't even want it to be fixed.
Throw it away, scrap it, rewrite it. Just fucking rewrite it.
Just don't just kill yourself instead of going into film.
Just fucking go home and die.
Just
die. Fucking kill yourself.
I'm so sorry. if you had a role in this to play in any part of this film, I think you should die.
No, I think the writer should just like rethink his career. Who was the random old lady at the mansion after he killed the villain? This random
I don't know
old
who
lady
anybody
came in and
was.
She goes, "Oh, you already done in there?" And he's like, "Yes." And he walks away. And she goes, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Who the fuck are you? Who are you?"
Why'd they have random characters? They need to like condense.
They were like, "Oh, he killed everyone, but we need like a character to react to his death. So let's just bring in like this random old lady that's probably his mom."
Right? So as a concept, an assassin who's retiring soon and needs to like get paid his pension, but they don't want to pay it to him because they're like in debt. So they're gonna have other assassins like get money from him. And then the neighbor plot twist things, those are not bad plots as concepts, but they executed them in the worst way possible.
I think the pension thing is stupid.
I don't think it's a bad concept if it was done well.
I don't know.
I would give this movie half a star for the 3 things that I said I liked about it.
I'm gonna give it 1 star.
Can I read you some reviews now?
Yeah.
The very top review, half a star. Listen, I didn't expect much from a film that starts with Johnny Novo dying mid-blowjob, but lighting a full frontal scene so low I can't even see Matt's dick? Some crimes can't be forgiven. 1 star, the inevitable edgelord variation on John Wick. Men who DM porn stars at 3 a.m. and leave all caps comments on female journalist tweets are about to have a new favorite movie. 1 star, make better movies, or I'm gonna have to learn how to read a book.
You could read the comic book, which is so much better.
Someone gave it 4 stars and said the cinematography is gorgeous, from the lighting to the costumes to the set pieces to the action sequences. What? All of those were bad. It's a great value version of John Wick, and they replaced his dog with Vanessa Hudgens.
He didn't kill his wife or his dog.
5 stars, because he looked good. Why does Vanessa Hudgens look like a 14th century peasant suffering from early stages of bubonic plague?
Yeah. She looked like a junkie.
I would pay to watch John Wick kill every character in this film. Absolutely hated this, even if I got to see Mads put his foot up on a table to deep dick a woman. Was it worth it?
That was crazy. When he did that, and he like put his foot up on the bed, I was like, oh my god, get your fucking leg down, my guy. This is a movie. This is pretend.
It's porn. First 10 minutes, 1 star by the way. First 10 minutes. Boner shot, blowjob, another boner shot, CGI bird, September by Earth, Wind, and Fire, karaoke lyrics at the bottom of the screen for September, helicopter, sniper shoots man but is still alive, sniper shoots man again but is still alive, Mads gets a prostate exam, eats pie in doctor's room with doctor, Mads gets dog, Mads shoots dogs, dog literally flies 10 feet because of the gunshot, Mads cuts wood, Mads drives with epic music, Mads goes grocery shopping and smokes. Someone gave it 3.5 stars and wrote, what a strange film. With Polar, half a star. With Polar, Netflix continues its crusade to see just how bad a movie can possibly be. I know that they will try, but I don't think it can get worse than this. What is this movie rated? Did I find out? The intro looks like a Christmas movie, and then it's just not even a little bit. Yeah, it's rated R. A critic says, an action thriller starring Mads as the world's most dangerous assassin should be entertaining, but Polar proves it's possible to ruin anything if you try. It was only ever nominated for 1 award, and it didn't even win it. Just a single award and a very, like, random thing I've never heard of. 12 critics, it's rated 19 out of 100, indicating overwhelming dislike. Okay, the movie ends... Dude, you're not ready for this. The movie ends implying there's going to be a sequel, like this really, really cringy sequel setup, but it's been 6 years. So I was like, there's not going to be a sequel, but Wikipedia says that a second film is in development. There's going to be a second film.
Oh yeah, that was my news.
Oh no, I ruined your surprise. I'm sorry.
They're probably writing the script.
Oh my god, I get to see Mads and Vanessa.
And it was probably delayed
again.
from COVID and then the strikes.
We should remake this film.
No, I don't want to touch it.
I wouldn't touch this film with a 10-foot pole.
Let me read you this one sentence from this critic who's essentially summarizing the film. Eventually, she trusts him enough to open up about the time she was beaten and raped by an attacker dressed as Santa Claus. That's something that happened in the movie.
The fuck? This whole movie's just bad. Like, I kept telling my roommates so many times, like, this is my least favorite movie ever. I'm dreading watching it again. I need to take 10 milligrams to get through this. Like, I cannot overstate how bad this is to you guys. And yet, when we were watching it, it was like they didn't believe me because they were like, holy shit, I can't believe like, this is real. Like, how is this movie real? How does such a bad movie exist? Who was your favorite character? I liked Rusty.
My favorite character was Sydney, the hot...
But if I had to pick a human, it'd be the main character.
Yeah, I liked Sydney and the main guy.
I like the drug addict girl. The drug addict girl, like, wasn't too bad.
Junkie Jane?
Yeah, she was kind of okay.
I'm sorry, the editor's name is Doobie? Yeah, alright guys, this movie was alright or whatever. You know, no one ever makes it this far, so I could say whatever I want. Give this movie a high five and scream your opinions above.
Please go watch this movie just so I'm not alone in its existence.
Don't watch this movie, it's bad. Good night, good day, and good morrow.
Good
We
night.
should start saying good morrow because I
Good
love
morrow. I
good
like that.
morrow. You know, you go up to someone and say, "Hey, good morrow. How was your day going?"